Good sir, drinks for my friend and I.
2 ales for miss. Go on, drink up. Drink up now.
What is that accent? Hi friends, Ginny D here, and if this is your first time on my channel, then hi. I make videos about D&D, including this point of view role-playing series, to help folks develop their original characters and get a little practice with improvising roleplay. I'll put the full playlist of POV videos into the cards in case you want to check out the others. Here's how it works. I portray an original D&D style character interacting with you, the viewer. I ask questions, and I leave space for you to respond from the perspective of your own character. There's been much discussion over how long those pauses should be. I have cut them down to around 10 seconds, and if you need more time, you can pause it. I am accepting no further critiques on the spacing between questions. You will never all agree. I am doing my best. In today's video, we are catching up with a character that I originally introduced in my first 3 NPCs video, Clover the Bard. She wants to write an epic poem about your adventures, and she has a lot of questions for you. As always, if you would like a written list of the questions, that is linked in the description. And if you want to make your own response video to this, I have also included a link to the video file without the background music. If you've been enjoying these POV videos, you have World Anvil to thank for it. They have sponsored this whole video series, and without their support, intensive productions like this would just not be possible. World Anvil is a toolkit for world building. It is great for writers and game masters and role players. It has all the tools you need to keep track of your world, your characters, your plots, and your histories. Articles that can be indexed and linked to one another, interactive nestable maps, family trees and timelines, support for stat blocks and character sheets, and privacy settings that enable you to share some things with the world, some things with only your players, and some with just you. To see World Anvil in action and learn more about the characters featured in these POV videos, I have linked my World Anvil page in the description. Each of my characters has their own page with in-depth information on their backstories and personalities, even including some things that haven't come up in their videos yet, like who broke Edith's heart and the dark secret Necrasha is keeping. Find it all at the link in the description, and if you want to try World Anvil for yourself, you can create a basic account for free or use the code Ginny to get 30% off of any annual membership. Okay, without any further ado, I believe that Clover is waiting for you at the tavern. Ah, I was hoping you'd come by. Good sir, drinks for my friend and I. Alas, I am a little short. A halfling joke I've heard a lot. Might you be a kindly sort and pay for these, since I cannot? Poetry, the food of love. Words both fair and true. Tell me, friend, do you enjoy hearing a verse or two? Well, all have heard of your recent success in epic tales, but me, I hope to go deeper, learn some new details. I hope to share your life in full, from start to current day. The inside scoop, a true tell-all. So, what do you say? Let's start at the dawn of your life. You were a babe in arms. Your parents, were they kind to you, or did they do you harm? Sweet living parents make for poor ballads, it's sad to say. If they were good, perhaps they died in some cruel, tragic way? Yes, I see. Understand. I simply do my best to write compelling openings. Please don't be distressed. When you were young, did others tease you, bully you, poor dear? Or were you much beloved, or source of other children's fear? Now, many heroes of the past had destinies, it's said, born beneath a prophecy or curse upon their head. At first, did you believe that you were meant for greater stuff? Some auspicious dream or even wish would be enough? can work with that. Let's jump a bit ahead. How long was it before you left your home and childhood bed? When you went, how did you feel? Joy or some malaise? Did you hightail it out of there? Reflect with wistful gaze? Now is the part in any tale where you'd have learned your trade. You must have had some teacher, trainer, some to give you aid. If not, please dig. Your victories were fated. Every hero has a mentor, even if exaggerated. What would you call the greatest lesson learned during this time? What skill or understanding would you take into your prime? And when you now reflect, how do you feel about that stage? Do memories warm your heart, or do they fill you up with rage? Some youths, you know, will look to ballads as they plan what's next. Should we then encourage them to follow in your steps? When did violence start to rear its head? Struggle and strife. Tell me, what's the first fight that you won in your whole life? Nature has a balance, so each win must have a cost. Tell me also of the first battle you ever lost. Now, I must describe you, how your features are designed, so listeners can picture our bold hero in their mind. Great poets can bring imagery to bear with every line. Describing you will surely help my skills in this field shine. What colour would you call your eyes? For then I could compare their lucid depths to molten honey, spring leaves, or stoneware. How would you describe your build? A rippling muscled mass? Shapely curves or towering high? A slender blade of grass? We needn't worry quite so much about accuracy. The goal is just to make you sound like quite a sight to see. Now, say a fan who loves my work should happen into you. Might you have a catchphrase or a banner they might view? How could they recognize you if they stumbled across your path? So they could have a portrait made or get an autograph. You should really prepare yourself for fame to come your way. My ballads, well, they top the charts. At least, they will someday. I hear you've lately had a victory of great renown, but every bard will sing of that. I would dig further down. Please think of some past venture that will never leave your mind, that's shaped you, that your memory just cannot leave behind. Victory or tragedy, yes, either will suffice. Winning's good, but it's dramatic if you pay a price. Set the scene. What triggered this adventure at the start? Seeking revenge? Some artifact? What made you first take part? Now it's time to introduce the villain of the tale. Who stood between your party and your goal, hoping you'd fail? And why did they oppose you? What did your foe have to gain? Could they be sympathetic, or do they want to cause pain? Now, how did your opponent look? The visuals are something many poets overlook. I hope they had some facial hair. A villainous goatee? Perhaps I'll write they had one. It makes them sound beastly. I'll share with you a secret, known to writers truly skilled. There must be stakes. Your reader has to think you might be killed. What weakness do you have that might have caused you to be beat? What could have ruined everything and brought on your defeat? Now, for the final moments, the dramatic ending scene. I must invoke your senses. What was felt and heard and seen. What can you still remember from the moments at the end? The scent of smoke? The dying wheeze of one you once called friend? Whew, I really think this poem's headed for acclaim. Soon every hall and tavern will be ringing with my name. I mean, your name. Now, it needs a title. Something noble. Something grand. Do you have a better name? Something not quite so bland? Some call me Clover Honeytongue. Not many, but still some. By what such name would you be known, if you had such a one? Well, this has been delightful. I'm sure this tale will wow. This will be great exposure. Truthfully, you owe me now. I often take commissions, yet I'm writing yours for free. Make sure to tell your friends, in case they'd like such a story. Wait, is that the guard? I actually have to go. I just realized I'm very late for something very important. Goodbye. Must fly. I cannot believe that I sat down to write the next in a series that is already incredibly time-consuming and complicated to write and just decided to do it all in rhyme. What the fuck is wrong with me? Anyway, thanks to everyone who has been enjoying this series. People are always asking if I'm going to do any more, so to be clear, the POV videos are an ongoing series. I have no current plans to stop, they just take a little while to make, so they will probably never be more frequent than every 1 or 2 months. Thank you for your patience, and if you want a lot more insight into what I'm working on, please feel free to join us on Patreon. My patrons get early access to videos and a ton of behind-the-scenes content, sneak peeks at current and upcoming projects. And we make a lot of puns, which could be a downside for some people, for weak people.